welcome. We are so glad to have you here. If you're with us on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. If you're with us on Zoom, drop a hi in the chat. We'd love to say hello back to you. To everyone in person, hello out there. And if this is your first time here, go ahead and sign the guest book either in the lobby or at oakcliffuu.org/guest. Today's sermon is How We Grow in Faith, Principles of RE with Leah Pittmon. Who better, right? All right, I hope you all are enjoying my lovely background. My other computer decided not to work, so we're just going to enjoy the scenery here in this corner of my room. All right, announcements. It is pledge drive time. I know, everybody's favorite time, right? And we are being challenged to dream and envision what we want our church to be. And there is a lot of great stuff that we've been doing and a lot of great stuff that we're ready to do. If you want to know more about all that great stuff, go to oakcliffuu.org/pledge2023. While you're there, go ahead and fill out your pledge form. You have to do it every year anyway to maintain your voting status. And the sooner you do it, the sooner I can stop talking about it. Yay, that's what we all really want out of the pledge drive, right? So go pledge your time, your talent. If you're pledging some money, see if you can up it just a little bit for all those fantastic projects. Workday Wednesdays are back on this Wednesday at 5 o'clock, the 21st. That order in there somewhere. This Wednesday, come join us. It is just in time to get ready for the Haunted Forest next month. What? The Haunted Forest? Yes, everybody's favorite time of year, besides the pledge drive. That is going to be on the 23rd and the 30th of October, but there is more this year. On the 23rd, we are also having a fall market. Think craft fair, think psychic fair, think Halloween, think all the great things. So keep an eye out for a volunteer sheet that should be coming very soon. And again, join us for Workday Wednesday so that we can get it all ready for the people who are putting that on. I have a quick unsave the date. Widening the Circle of Concern is on hold as Sherry works on Get Out the Vote. Extremely important stuff. And Renee is a little bit busy with her brand new baby. Congratulations, Renee. Definitely understand that one. We will let you all know when Widening the Circle of Concern is back. If you want to know more about all of this, just go ahead and check out the e-blast. You know that everything we have is in the e-blast. All the stuff I'm talking about, way more details, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and all our news and events are in there. So go ahead and check that out. It is Sunday and we do not stop the fun after the service. No, we have talk back at 11:15. That's where we get together and talk about the sermon and related topics. You always get something out of it, whether you're there to talk or just listen. We also have adult religious exploration is back. Sarah is back. Welcome, Sarah. That is at 11:30, and they are doing the beginning of UU in America. How fun is that? All right, that is all I have for you this week. I think it was enough, so let's get on with it. To all of you out there, I hope that you have a very happy Sunday.
Good morning and welcome to Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff. We're happy to have you here this morning. We come from different walks of life and all of you are welcome. Young, old, straight-laced, weird, straight-laced and weird, who knows? But whoever you are, we welcome you this morning. Hope that our time together is fulfilling for you.
Y'all, as we say this together this morning, and the other things that we say every week, a reminder to really let that be in your heart as those words come out of your mouth. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help, not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness. Que esta luz que ahora encendemos nos inspire a usar nuestros dones y poderes para sanar y no para herir, para ayudar y no para impedir, para bendecir y no para maldecir, para servirte a ti espíritu de amor, compasión y perdón.
Opening words, The Hearts of Our Whole Community by Julius Jaramillo. This morning we gather together to worship as a community of all ages. Let us take a moment to look around at those of us sharing this sacred space. Let us recognize the hearts of our whole community, from our elders to our youngest and all the ages in between. Let us embody the beauty of this whole church community, even when there are a few more wiggles, giggles, and chatter. Let us remind ourselves to listen carefully, calming our bodies and our minds. Begin by breathing peace and joy into this sacred place with 3 breaths. Know you are surrounded by the love of this community where all are welcome.
Please rise in body and/or spirit for our opening hymn, number 360. Here we have gathered side by side, circle of kinship, come and step inside. May all who seek here find a kindly word. May all who speak here feel they have been heard. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Here we have gathered, called to celebrate days of our lifetime, whether small and great. We of all ages, women, children, men, infants and sages, sharing what we can. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Life has its battles, sorrows and regret, but in the shadows let us not forget. We who now gather know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us as we give, we gain. Sing now to friendship this our heart's own song.
Please remain standing as we recite our covenant, which was written by our congregation for this church. Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. We celebrate life's abundance in service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together. And in Spanish, porque nos amamos uno el otro, honoramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo, celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio a entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y aceptación, así que hacemos pacto. You're not alone in your sorrows, just as I'm not alone in mine. Each week, we share our sorrows with one another, for our burden shared can be a burden lightened. If you're with us online, you may share your thoughts in the chat.
Walking with you, walking with you is my prayer. Grieving with you is my prayer. Being with you is my prayer. Loving with you is my prayer. Singing with you is my prayer. Walking with you is my prayer.
We also share our joys with one another, for we love to celebrate the happiness in the lives of those in our congregation.
You want to stand and rock out? You can.
I laid my burden For those of you who don't know me, I'm Leah Pittmon, and I've been volunteering in children's and teens religious education here at Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff since early 2014. Before that, I had also volunteered in children's religious education at First Jefferson Unitarian Universalist Church in Fort Worth for a year and a half. I was asked to speak today on the principles of religious education. That's a tall order, considering if you go to the Unitarian Universalist Association website, there's not a page labeled Principles of RE. There's a page on our Unitarian Universalist principles, on our sources of faith, and just about everything else under the sun. There's a lot of resources for different ages and aspects of religious education, but no well-defined outline of Principles of RE. So I'll have to draw on my personal experience, and that may be very different from someone else involved in RE. In Unitarian Universalist congregations, religious education tends to be divided into two categories that function fairly independently of one another: adult and not adult. It's easy to think of adult RE in terms of religious exploration more so than education. After all, our third and fourth principles describe the purpose of religious exploration well: acceptance of one another and encouragement of spiritual growth, along with a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. But when it comes to children and teens, we still tend to think more in terms of religious education rather than exploration. After all, how are they to grow into adults who respect each person's path if they haven't learned about different paths and ideas before then? I will assert that both education and exploration are vital to Unitarian Universalists of all ages. While I definitely agree that introducing new ideas, learning our history, asking hard questions, finding out that there aren't always right answers are all important, I first want to talk about how doing all of this through the filter of our principles is difficult. Our current 7 principles were adopted in 1985. Here we are 35 years later. It has been suggested to add an 8th principle, but there hasn't been much talk of dropping any because they withstand the test of time. They continue to be lofty goals, easy to profess, hard to live up to. An easy example of the difficulty of living up to one of our principles is finding the inherent worth and dignity of people who do unspeakable things. But applying these principles to religious education and exploration can also be more difficult than it sounds. For the RE setting involving children and teens, it can be especially difficult to facilitate religious exploration while keeping our principles in mind. Most non-adults are used to being told what to learn, when to learn it, and why learning it is important. Following the same model, most adults working with children and youth are used to playing the part of someone imparting their knowledge to the young people. It can be challenging to both the adults and the non-adults to step away from this passive educational model and into a dynamic exploration model like we use for adult RE. Yet I firmly believe that it is critical to do so. In keeping with our principles, it is not the job of the adult facilitator to tell the young person what should be personally important to their own spiritual path and what should be regarded as more useful in understanding the spiritual paths of others. Why do we send our youth to RE class? Is it to keep them busy while adults do worship service and adult RE? Or is there more to it than that? What purpose does religious exploration hold for adults? Many would consider some of the following as purposes of adult RE: to open our minds, to share our perspectives, to provide or receive comfort in difficult times, to refresh our commitment to our ideals, to renew our spirits. I believe that all these reasons and more should be true of children's and teens RE as well. A congregation should be as committed to the spiritual growth of young people as it is to adults, possibly even more so. To quote Pope Shenouda III of Alexandria, a church without youth is a church without a future. What are some of the ways to approach RE, specifically for young people, that keep our principles in mind? Ensuring that everyone has a chance to share in discussions is of utmost importance. Facilitating dialogue between youth that is respectful and balanced can be challenging. Not only does the adult facilitator need to avoid unduly influencing the youth with their opinion, but statements such as "that's right," "that's wrong," or "that's stupid" can be hard to navigate when coming from other youth. Redirection to the principle that we must all find our own truth is helpful when this occurs. This is also the case when one youth or a small group try to be disruptive. This can arise not only from the desire to be the center of attention, but also as a way to avoid confronting difficult subjects. Especially when dealing with young people, it is important to assume best intentions, discomfort about a subject, rather than worst intentions, trying to create attention for themselves. I often also experience one child or teen who is very excited about their opinion or idea. The tendency to dominate the conversation sometimes needs to be directed back to the principle that everyone deserves a voice. Creating opportunities for that youth to lead all or a portion of a meeting not only channels that energy, but also begins to develop their leadership skills. Assuming that all youngsters want to discuss a certain topic aloud, or that they are all interested in certain activities, can be a pitfall for the adult facilitators in a group of children or teens. I am still surprised that most children and teens I have worked with over the last several years are not very interested in singing or creating skits. Some of my favorite childhood memories of Sunday school involve these activities. Allowing a participant to pass or set out an activity can be difficult for an adult facilitator to accept without judgment, as our tendency is to want to teach. But it is not respectful of the child or teen to make them take part in a discussion or activity that makes them uncomfortable. Enforcing a no phones or computers policy in class or at lock-ins can seem to run contrary to the idea that they are each responsible for their own spiritual growth, especially to the youth involved. However, if allowed, most youth nowadays would choose electronics over participation, leading to mass non-participation and little spiritual dialogue. By not allowing electronics, it helps make the choice to participate easier than the choice not to participate, thereby encouraging youth to step outside their comfort zones. I will now turn to some common elements important to all Unitarian Universalist religious education and exploration programs, regardless of age. Learning our Unitarian Universalist history and the struggles of liberal religious tradition throughout history serves several purposes. We can see that ours is a living tradition, able to grow and evolve with new experiences and discoveries. Historical responses to past challenges can be a source of inspiration and action from which to draw to meet today's issues. Understanding how our principles came about and discovering that every time we contemplate our principles, they can take on deeper meaning and spiritual value, can commit us to the process of growth. We can begin to answer the question of what it is that binds together so many of us, not only in spite of, but also because of our differing ideas about the divine. There are a lot of old white guys in our Unitarian Universalist history, but there are also a great number of not old, not white, not guys. When we include discussions about important figures from every walk of life, religious education becomes more meaningful. Not only can participants more easily relate when they see reflections of themselves, but participants in majority demographics become more open to diversity as well. Finding stories of Unitarian Universalist and social justice heroes that inspire and encourage us, regardless of sex, race, religion of origin, nationality, or orientation, should be intentionally as diverse as possible. Another challenging arena in RE at any age is balancing our respect for science and reason with direct, transcendent experiences of the divine. For example, our humanist companions may find it harder to accept those who find a place for astrology in their religious path. Some may adhere to veganism, while others feel that focusing on eating habits would be time better spent focusing on human social justice issues. A very personal example of this for me was that of my own personal bias against the term magic. All my life, magic had meant wizard-style wand waving, bending the laws of physics, instant changes, fiction. I have had to let go of that connotation because it is a Calvinist-inspired definition bearing little resemblance to what practitioners of magic actually believe magic to be. I am also reminded of experiments where researchers applied electrical stimulation to the temporal lobes of the brain, resulting in many of their subjects reporting to sense a divine presence. Does this mean that direct transcendent experience is just an electrical misfire? Or does it mean that all humans have the capacity to experience the divine directly, but some have not cultivated it? Our respect for each individual's spiritual journey means that we can interpret these things in a way that works best for us, but shouldn't try to convince anyone else that their path is flawed. Many Unitarian Universalist congregations in the last few decades have struggled to find a balance between honoring and studying our Judeo-Christian heritage or shying too far away from it. So many whose religion of origin was modern evangelical Christianity are turned off by the mere mention of Jesus. While the transformation of Christianity by the Apostle Paul and others, especially in recent modern times, is unsavory to many UUs, our heritage is full of the ideas attributed to Jesus, the man from Palestine. My own tidy summation is radical love and acceptance of one another, which is inherent to the formation of our principles. It is definitely possible to spend too much time on the concept of one God all-loving, however, resulting in turning away those who don't interact with the divine as a God at all, those who believe the divine to be represented by more than one God, or those who see the divine in the natural world. Balancing an exploration of other faith traditions can help increase the understanding that truth does not have to come from a single source. Learning about other world religions allows us an opportunity to see common values in all faith traditions. Treating others as we wish to be treated ourselves, the golden rule, shows up in virtually all faiths. Stories of good overcoming evil abound. Every other faith tradition I have studied has included life lessons about helping those less fortunate than ourselves. We are encouraged to share not only our bounty, but also our joys and sorrows. Forgiveness is another universal theme. Faith in goodness, courage, and strength can be seen throughout world religions. In studying earth-centered traditions, our seventh principle is affirmed. In today's disposable, fast-paced world, aspects of these traditions remind us of our commitment and responsibility to our planet and environment. For some, the wonders of the natural world are more profound than any story of supernatural miracles. Close scrutiny of current events through the lenses of our Unitarian Universalist principles, sources of faith, and smooth stones of liberal religion affords us the opportunity to see that prayer is a call to action, not just a plea to the divine. As caught up and bogged down as we can become with personal and social difficulties, we can find renewed hope in the fact that we are not struggling alone. If we need rest, our spiritual families can take up the work. When we have rested, we can take it back up and allow someone else a break. I realize that my experiences are not universal, but I hope that my insights can inspire you all to embrace religious education and exploration as a form of healthy spiritual exercise to deepen your Unitarian Universalist faith. Thank you.
Please rise in body and/or spirit. O life that maketh all things joy of paths untrod, one in the soul's perennial youth, one in the larger thought of God. The freer step, the fuller breath, the wide horizon's grander view, the sense of life that knows no death, a life that maketh all things new.
We, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff, commit ourselves to the study and dismantling of racism and oppression within our congregation. We commit our congregation and ourselves to the work of anti-racism and anti-oppression. We commit ourselves to listening, to learning, and to action. When we fail, we commit ourselves to trying again and again. We covenant to begin this work and to continue until all of us can truly say that we are a beloved community of justice, equity, and compassion.
Good morning, UU. Good morning. You may be seated. Let me take this off. All right, so I was presented this opportunity and got the details a little late, but I do have everything, and I also did a little collaborative work with the current team who's doing the study. So I'm going to add just a tiny twist, if you will allow me to, and invite you into one other thing for our widening concern work moment. Again, it is an invitation and a consideration, and I'm excited because I do think it partners well with the message that we heard this morning about RE and religious education. So on that note, if you would join me. All right, so I have my script on my device here. Our device is wonderful today. All right, so for our widening moment, we invite you, first of all, to join in a moment where we will have paper and drawing and writing utensils given to you. Throughout this month, we have a prompt called Equity. And before I read the prompt, I need to let you know what we are doing. So for those who are new or visiting with us, along with those who have come every day, in addition to our covenant to intentionally dismantle racism, we are also taking the opportunity to write and draw what that means to us. So for our widening of the circle of concern moment, we are asking you to write and draw to the following prompt. The prompt is in your bulletin, and it reads, what would our community look like and feel like if we made sure that everyone had what they needed to live a safe, healthy, and beautiful life? Now, if I may, I'm going to take a little liberty. How many of you have written to this prompt already? Many of you have. So here's the choice element that goes along with education. If you are continuing to express those thoughts, we invite you to do so in the way that your heart leads you to. An additional exercise that I'm inviting you to, either today or at another time, is if you would like to, we invite you to take a look at what's already been posted on the wall. Now, I'm coming from the background of an educator. So not only do I like for people to share their ideas, but also to learn from others, as in the spirit of our UU principle. If you have written your thoughts, I would invite you, if you would like to take this time, to take a look at the thoughts that have already been written. And I would encourage you to take a look at one that was different than yours and write down something that you either learned from it, you agreed with, however you want to express it. But I'm inviting you to perhaps look at the others, and we would like to, as a group, begin doing that. After we express what we know to be a happy, filling, and fulfilling life, let's look at those around us and see what we can glean from that as well. So I did ask permission to add that little extra on there. I do want to be sensitive to the time. We're going to take about 5 or so minutes to do that. So the directions are clear. If you would like to continue expressing what a life of equity would mean to you in this community, please do so. If you would like to have an extended invitation to take a look at others who have written to that same prompt and glean and learn from theirs as well. So please take the next 5 minutes or so to write your ideas or take a look at some of the ideas that were written by others and share your thoughts as well. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who participated in this activity. Please know that if you need a moment to wrap up your thoughts, you may do so, and you can also continue after today. Also, I do believe there is email information if you have additional thoughts that you would like to email to us as well. So we'll go ahead and conclude this part of today's service. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Yolanda. Now let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place that so many of us hold sacred. There are notes in your order of service about various ways to give in addition to the basket that we'll be passing. And on how to see that cash is attributed to your pledge if you so desire.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and with this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De ti o recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Fragments of Childhood by Meredith Olson. We were all children once, and we carry fragments of our childhood times with us. Today, let us honor those children who walked before us, who transformed into who we have become, who led us to this place, who have lessons for us still.
Please rise in body and/or spirit for our closing hymn. I seek the spirit of a child who meets life naturally, the child who sings alive and greets the morning sun with glee. Children are real beyond all art. May I see joy's a gift to my heart. I seek the freedom of a child who loves instinctively, who lights our day with just a smile and shines that light on all we see. Children are real beyond all fears. May I see hope's a gift tonight. I seek the wonder of a child who sees delightfully. Now clouds and cloud, now golden sun, and nations true and free. Children are real beyond all lies. May I see faith's a gift in our hearts.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
Good morning. Watching this sermon and thinking about some of the events of past week, I think about when my children were little and they would have disagreements. And I'd put each of them in a separate location for a certain amount of time, and by the time they came back together, they'd forgotten all about it. A couple of weeks ago, I took a webinar. I take a lot of them to keep up with my counseling knowledge. And this one particular one was on conflict resolution. And one of the most important things that they continually bring up in that is that never say things in anger. Step away. If you're angry, if you're emotional, it doesn't help anyone. Step away, take a few days to think about it, and then come back and see if you can resolve it. We are passionate people. UUs have their own minds, their own beliefs, and their own opinions, and they aren't afraid to provide them to other people. And that's good. That's what we want. We want individuals. We don't want a cult, or even though I keep joking that I'm going to start one. So we need to learn how to listen to one another deeply and come together and come to an understanding and be more like children and embrace one another when we come back. And in that end, at the beginning of this year, we established that conflict resolution would be done by the exec board. And that's a lot because both Autumn and I are trained in that area. So, and we want to encourage you, if there is a disagreement that you can't come together on, please talk to one of your trustees or me, and we will see if we can help. But it does take all sides to come to an agreement, not just one. So go forth, have a good day, and we'll see you next week. Take care.